Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's see who's watching. Let's give people a little bit of time to show up. But I'm so excited because, yeah, your cover's here.
I've been looking at all of the graphics and stuff this morning and going through stuff. I'm really excited.
Just messaging some people. Let's see. Who else? Happy cover reveal day from fellow Inimitable Books author Holly Davis.
Thanks, Holly.
I'm so excited to show off this cover. We got there very quickly, which we'll talk about more once there are more people watching. But man, I am so excited.
I definitely was expecting it to be like a more drawn out process. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yes. Hold on. There was someone who I wanted to text, and I completely blanked on who it was. Whoops. Oh. There we go. Do you have a passage that you're going to want to read? I realized I forgot to ask you for that last time.
No, but do I have a copy of? I don't know if I have the most updated version right next to me.
I mean, you could do the prologue.
I could do the prologue. I do. Let me grab that. 1 second.
She'll be back. Yes. Happy to see you here, Holly. We've been promoting the cover reveal. I think it's just because maybe people are going over to our Twitch because we normally stream over there. It says we have 2 viewers now. So if you're watching, please say hi. Trying to see who else might be interested. Let's just share this on YouTube. To our had to wait until the Threads post went live to share. There we go. Exciting. Okay. Hello. Yes, Chandra's wearing red to match the cover, and then I'm wearing white to do the highlights of the cover. I'm so excited. Okay. We now have some people watching, so let's do a little intro so people know who you are if this is their first time meeting you. You go first.
Hey everyone, my name is Chandra Arthur. I am the author of Mother Mercy, which is a revenge thriller I'm very excited to share that with you. Of course, we'll actually get to read a little bit today, so that's very exciting. I didn't that was a surprise, but I'm glad I get to do that because I'm really excited about it.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so that's me.
Chandra's also the co-author of the 1,000 Word series with Natalie Locke. Those have been previously published by Inimitable Books, but this is her first solo book, her first fiction book. Very exciting. If you don't know who I am, my name is Zara Hoffman. I'm the founder of Inimitable Books. I am Chandra's publisher and friend. And I'm so excited about this book because it is our second thriller of ever, but it's coming out next year. But it's a doozy. You know, it's female Dexter, it's feminine rage, it's vigilante justice. It's so many good cathartic things. And my mom, who loves thrillers, loved it. So that is a glowing review. And she loves Dexter. So she was all over this, and it was great. Yes. You know, if the pitch works, it works, and we will keep using it. Do we want to just end the suspense for people who haven't been around the internet and like show the cover? Because I have that.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we are actually lucky that we have the dust jacket ready to go, but this is the cover, the ebook cover, the front cover. Mother Mercy. We have white, we got red. Do you want to talk about the design process at all? How did it go?
So it was actually very straightforward, and I was so anxious about it because I knew the first question that I was going to get asked is like, okay, like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. I have literally no thoughts. There's nothing going on between these ears. I have no clue. So
Yeah, that was
um,
funny. The cover artist is like, so I didn't really get any art direction. What am I supposed to be doing?
I'm like, excellent question. I would love to tell you. What are you supposed to be doing?
What
And
are we
Christian
supposed
was
to be doing?
Yeah, Christian was so good about it, and I just was like, okay, so here are some highlights from the book, like the generally what happens. Here's a bit of information about the character, and here's the mood board that I made.
Yes. Yeah.
And Christian ran with it and came back very quickly with like a few different things, and then Zara and I got on a call and looked at them, and we are like, okay, these are the things that we like, these are the things that we don't like.
Yeah.
And then we sent it back, and I think it took less than a week, I think, once we were
It
like,
was so fast.
it was very fast.
And you had emailed me and were like, how much is too much detail? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't describe one of the special scenes in the book. I would be more general. We're not going to like depict one of those scenes. Although actually one of the drafts he gave us almost looked like the prologue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it felt too busy for a book cover. In my opinion, I think it would have been a very cool movie poster. I'm sure other people have done book covers like that. It just felt,
It didn't quite match the tone of the whole story. It
yeah,
matched a scene, but not the whole thing.
yes. And, you know, we had either a miscommunication or I forgot to say to remove something at one point, but, you know, we were talking about how your character goes about certain things and restraints are involved, but not duct tape and not handcuffs, which were two things that did show up on the covers. I had suggested the handcuffs because I thought it would be cool to like have the O of mother and the R of mercy connected, but that was, Chandra, you were very right to be like, well, she doesn't use that. And it's like, yes, she doesn't. Someone else does. And then it just looked too busy. And I think we learned very quickly that simplicity was better for this.
Yeah.
But, this was almost a draft from the get-go. We just were tweaking it.
Yeah. Yeah. There was most of this was on there already. And it was just like, okay, let's pare it down. Let's make it very, very simple, but very like I feel like it stands out, and that's what I wanted. I feel like sometimes when you have a lot of stuff going on the cover, especially if it doesn't directly tie into the story, then it's like when you look at the cover after you finish a book. I don't know. I do this. I don't really I pick a cover because it's like a pretty picture. But after I finish the book, then I'm like, oh, this thing on the cover makes sense for the story because of this scene, and this makes
Yeah.
sense because of that. And so I like it to be very cohesive. And so when I was looking at it, I was like, I don't think that would be, it would just it would be like one standout thing. So I was very excited to see the finished product and be like, oh my gosh, that's it.
Yeah. Do we want to show the other van version?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because we obviously landed on this one, and I think it is so striking. But I mentioned one of the designs kind of looking like a movie poster, and he actually did that for a few. And he's, very visually talented. He actually worked on the Netflix version of 13 Reasons Why. And so it makes sense that some of his things were like this. But this one, I just felt a little bit too horror-y. And I think you agreed with me, Chandra. It felt a little bit like, what's that movie? It Follows, or what, but we had the van.
Yeah.
It was blood red. And I just felt like I've seen covers like this before, but it didn't feel like it got the vibe of your book.
Yeah. And I think that the white van being the central theme, it's because also within true crime, the white van has a a lot of connotations around it. And I think that's important to the story. Um, the kind of way that I'm able to like turn that on its head and change the expectation around it. So while this is like stand out and very like movie poster, it's not exactly right.
Yeah. And I don't know, there was something about the van being red like this that almost made it look like a toy car to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
And I liked, the text in red and your name in red. I thought that was very cool. I think we wound up grabbing this font actually for the final cover, because he had a slightly different font combination in the first draft of what we picked. Do you want me to share that one as well?
Mhm.
So we're about to show something that is very close to the final version, and you'll all see that in a second. Let me just get it up here. The shame is that every time I share something, I have to like redo it and unshare. So he had, done duct tape and a zip tie, and Chandra's name was way too thin. And so when we were like, hey, we love this concept, but I'm actually looking at it. I think we did keep the Mother Mercy font.
And change the one for my name.
Yes, we changed the one for your name. We removed the duct tape, and then we were like, okay, we have more space now. Let's make this van bigger. And then we also he added the thing that said a thriller on it, which I don't know if either of us asked for it, but it really just made it feel like a little more official to me.
Yes. I don't think we did, but I think probably too that like once the duct tape came off of the edges, there was more space. And
Yes.
so it made sense.
Because we can move your name down. We could, we can make the van bigger. And yeah, why did I think it was a reveal graphic at first? That was another thought that I had, but I think I didn't even have to voice that thought because we were just like, it doesn't exist in the book. And it's not that you need everything on the cover to perfectly match the book, but we didn't want to introduce something that wasn't in the book at all.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the actual cover, especially as people have been trickling in. This is the final cover. And sorry about the sirens. It's so nice. I like that your name is like where it's starting to get darker again at the bottom. We have a thriller, not quite in the brightest part of the red, but like still there. There's space to breathe. The van is even more prominent now.
Yeah.
It's just like you see that van coming, and like you were saying, normally it's not. Like vans are not safe cars in fiction. Normally it's bad. I feel like in real life, the most vans I see are moving vans. And so like, I don't really
It's
think about
it's
it.
a work van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a work. Of course, if someone watches a lot of true crime, they'd be like, well, actually, it's like, yes, I know. But I don't suspect every van of that.
Well, and that's the thing that makes them so like creepy, right? Is because they are ubiquitous. They are used for a lot of things. They're usually associated with some kind of brand or work or whatever. So people dismiss them. Like that was the thing that made it so like unnerving is it is something you see all the time. It is something you dismiss because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And it's so, remember hearing kids going missing. Yes. I read The Girl on the Milk Carton, probably at too young an age, because I was, I think, either younger or the age of the girl who goes missing in that book. So I was scared for a while, which means it was a good book. But yeah, it's normally not good. There was an episode of NCIS, not when I was growing up. It was actually much later with they had changed the cast at this point, I think like 3 times or something. And there's an instance where someone gets kidnapped, they're in a van, and the van changes color. And it's like, oh, like that is a trick. And then here you have it in the book where it's like, of course she has to change the van color, but at least she's doing good things.
Yeah.
I read that book too. Yeah. I just love this cover so much. The dust jacket keeps up with the simplicity of it, but I do think it is stunning. So I do want to share that with people.
Yes.
You're wearing red here in your picture on the thumbnail for this. You're actually in your white outfit with the reddish background. But here, because it is such a dark book, we have your black and white author photo. It's creepy. We have the tagline, which we workshopped, and I'm quite proud of.
Yeah, I love it.
And, we have the book description over here and your author bio, but it is really the only thing that is highlighted is like the spine. And then everything else is the content. And I like that he put the van on the spine.
Yes, I do. I do. I'm very happy with it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, like we didn't even ask him to do that part. I expected, the name and this and then the logo and that being there. It's just like a little, oh, I love that.
The cherry on top. But I think too, one of the things that made it work so well is because I literally was just like, I don't know, man, vibes.
Yeah, he really got the vibes. And I think he had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
We were like, red, van, white, probably.
And get stabby. Like, I don't know.
It's so much fun. He sent me a draft earlier where the tracking, which is the spacing between the letters, was a little bit, too wide. So we fixed that. And that was literally the only change he had to do for the dust jacket because he knew.
Yeah.
Oh, and he still had the old name at first, but do we want to talk about that at all? Or do we
Yes.
want to save that for like the release?
Oh, I think we should. I think we should talk about it. Probably because also there's stuff already out there, I think, where it's mentioned or where we talked about Emma,
Yeah.
who is actually now Abby.
Yeah.
And
She actually has
so
another name as well, but we're not going to get into that.
yeah, that'll be in the book. But we had I started drafting, like we'd already talked about the idea, had the concept, everything was done, and I started drafting this summer. And a lot of times when I'm working with a character, like, you get the name first. And I did not have anything that really like stuck with me. So I just pulled something out of a hat, something short that's kind of like a general, I don't want to say like a generic name, but like a
But it's
comfortable
not one
name.
that's going to grab attention if it's in a list or.
Right. Right. And so I just like, you gotta write, just pick something. Pick something. So I started writing with Emma and had in the back of my mind that at some point in time I'm gonna like put the real name, right?
Right. But I didn't know that. You had submitted the manuscript to me as Emma. And, I had done the first read through, the developmental edit, I believe. Or maybe this
Mhm.
was a developmental edit note I gave you. But, your book, Mother Mercy, Becca C. Smith's book, Grandma's Little Secret, which is actually coming out the month before yours, and we already did her cover reveal. I was going back and forth between editing them because I was waiting for Thanks for Watching, which is the book after yours. And, I'm editing for the story. I'm not editing for character names. Why would I really think about that? And then I'm reading. So for context, there are different sections in the book. And I really love how we did that. That was a discussion that we had. And one could argue there are like 3 cases that Abby handles. And one of them involves a young girl, unfortunately. And the girl's name is Olivia. And there's a sentence or something where it's like, oh, Emma has to save Olivia. Or there was something where it just clicked for me that, oh my God, in Grandma's Little Secret, the main character, Emma, is saving her favorite fictional character named Olivia. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Becca's been working on her manuscript for decades. I don't really think we need to change her Emma. I think it would be cute if we kept Olivia as like a through line between all the thriller books somehow. So I then had to text Kate and be like, do you have a character we can change the name to Olivia? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, great. Let's do that. And then I'll give you the story in like a few hours. I left her hanging and then gave her the answer. But then we had to talk about, okay, if it's not Emma, what do we do? And then you're like, oh, well, her real name is something else. And I'm like, okay, what's that? And you're like, so name meanings as well.
I did. That was one thing that was really fun. Hi, Becca. Thank you.
We just talked about the name change from Emma to Abby.
Yeah, that was one of the really funny things too, is getting to go back through and like look at what a lot of the different names mean.
Yeah.
And we some fun was had there. I will say that.
Yes. Yes. We were definitely like, is this sick? Yeah, let's do it. And it's like someone might not even know. And we're not even going to spill the beans here. Because one of the names is, I would say, a spoiler, right? Like that counts as a spoiler.
I think so, yeah.
And then just the irony of what Abigail means.
Yeah.
If
I
someone wants
think
to Google that, you can.
the names were definitely a highlight.
Yeah, it was fun. And, your author photo is literally with a dictionary. And, I know you've always loved, words. Your first books with Inimitable Books are the 1,000 Words series, writing prompt books, where, the picking of those words in conjunction with your co-author, Natalie Locke, and then me being like, is this what you meant? Or, was there a typo? Was there a mistake or something? But it was fun because I know you appreciate etymology. And then we were like, let's apply it to the names too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hide the cover. We have had some people come in. So we had Holly first, then we had Inimitable Books author Veronica King as well. Holly is one of our authors. Sorry, I said that earlier and then realized I didn't say it just then. Then we had Regina, Eva, and Becca. And it was a very straightforward cover process. Becca, you can rewind and watch that if you want. But I think it really captures the book. The van doesn't come in the prologue, but I think if you want to read that prologue now.
Yes.
Also, everyone, please note that I sprung this on Chandra while we were already live. So
it's fine.
He hasn't practiced reading this out loud a ton of times.
But yeah, I like almost never read aloud. So I'm probably gonna be like, oh, I need to make a note of this or that while I'm reading. But
yes, we're proofreading, but I think the prologue is really tight, and I think it sets the tone and also plays in really well to the story later when it circles back around. Just really quickly, some content warnings for the prologue. There is implied animal cruelty. It is not shown on screen, on page at all. There is deadlines for people. There is, a flashback of physical abuse in this prologue. And I think we've covered the warnings for that. I mean, in addition to the physical abuse, is like it's under spousal abuse.
mm-hmm.
I think that covers it though. The book has many, many more triggers. So take care of yourself, but it is an awesome book.
Okie doke. So the prologue of Mother Mercy.
Yes.
Pink brain matter speckled the harvest gold refrigerator. Darker spots of blood splatter fill in the macabre canvas. The house was quiet, finally. Poppy limped into the kitchen, still favoring her paw. Beth scooped her up before she walked into the mess. The beagle licked her cheek, then blew puppy breath into her face. Tears came all at once. Not sad tears, but the kind that mingled shock and relief. She'd thought it might come to this, but Beth hadn't expected it to be so soon. She pushed down the rolling waves of emotion that fizzed inside her.
Oh, what just happened? Is it my internet? Oh no, what happened? Oh. Let me text her and see what happened. Okay, I'm still moving, so that means my Wi-Fi is okay. But our lovely author just disappeared. I don't want to take over reading for her. Sorry, you can all hear my mom, so I'm going to actually quickly mute. Okay, we're figuring it out. She's back. You good?
Yeah, I'm not sure what just happened. Where did I get booted?
You were about to say, or you were in the middle of saying fizzing, and then you were cut off.
Oh, okay.
If you want to restart that paragraph of she pushed down, or if you want to restart, it's up to you.
Yeah, I can restart because that was pretty early. All right. Let me also make sure put this in do not disturb so that nothing. There we go. So no notifications boot me again. I think that's what happened. Pink brain matter speckled the Harvest Gold refrigerator. Darker spots of blood splatter filled in the macabre canvas. The house was quiet, finally. Poppy limped into the kitchen, still favoring her paw. Beth scooped her up before she could walk into the mess. The beagle licked her cheek, then blew puppy breath into her face. The tears came all at once. Not sad tears, but the kind that mingled shock and relief. She'd thought it might come to this, but Beth hadn't expected it to be so soon. She pushed down the rolling waves of emotion that were fizzing inside her. She didn't have time to deal with it now. She cleared her throat, then carried Poppy down the hall to the bathroom where she would be safe, and closed the door. There wasn't time to clean everything up. The blood was already starting to seep into the grout between the tiles. People would know who had done it anyway. There was no way she could bury 250 pounds of dead man by herself. It would have taken her a week just to dig the hole. All the while, his body would be blocking access to the kitchen. A woman could hardly be expected to do that kind of back-breaking labor on an empty stomach. She could feel the hysterical laughter tickling the back of her throat. No, there wasn't time. Everyone had seen the bruises, and no one had bothered to do anything. It had been a family matter right up until she pulled the trigger. Now there was a thin margin between self-defense and homicide. Sure, she could wait around and plead her case, but she knew how that would go around here. His best friends were the police chief and Commonwealth's attorney, and his uncle was the only judge in the county. There wasn't a fair shake to be had in this town, not for love or money, and she had neither. Well, not love. She did have a little money and a pamphlet with the name of a place for women like her. The clock on the nightstand read 10:30 in the morning. If Mark wasn't at the diner by noon, they'd start calling the house. Once they called, if someone didn't answer, she'd have 10, maybe 15 minutes. The door of what had been their bedroom stood open at the end of the hall. The bed was still unmade. She pulled her suitcase down from the top shelf in the small closet and dumped the rolled sweaters onto the bed to make space for the things she would need. Down the hall, Poppy whined from within the bathroom, scratching at the closed door. Beth ignored her. She couldn't have her baby tainted by his blood. Besides, now that it was just the two of them, no one would be angry if Poppy peed on the floor anymore. Beth rolled 7 pairs of underwear, socks, 2 pairs of jeans, and 2 simple dresses. Then she pulled a winter coat, raincoat, and sweater from the closet on their hangers and stuffed them into her garment bag. She didn't have much that she wanted to take with her, but there still wasn't a lot of space. Marriage licenses, birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, and the title to the car. The family photo album, minus the picture of her and Mark in front of the diner. She wasn't sure why, but she felt weird leaving it behind. After slinging her purse over her shoulder, she felt around inside for the keys. Nothing. Shit. They had to be in his pocket. She carried the suitcase to the car first, then the garment bag, carefully stepping over the spreading pool of blood that was coming from the kitchen. Back in the bedroom, she pulled open the top drawer of her dresser, just enough so she could run her hand along the underside of the top, feeling for the tab of tape she had put there months ago. This was her safe haven, the one place she would be able to start over. She slipped the card into her purse, then moved her nightstand away from the wall and shifted the loose baseboard so she could fit her hand into the wall gap between the studs. The cash was stashed in 4 cardboard toilet paper rolls. She wasn't sure how much, but it would have to be enough. She stuffed them into her purse. She pushed everything back out of the way and tried to decide what to do next. Move his body to get the keys, or get her toiletries and Poppy from the bathroom. Beth decided on the keys. If she got blood on her, she'd have to shower, and it was too hot for Poppy to sit in the car while she got cleaned up. Shit. She'd forgotten to pack Poppy's things. Her bed, toys, food, bowls all needed to go into the car. Then she'd have to get the keys. She hadn't really looked at him since she shot him. Granted, there wasn't much to see. The top of his head was just gone, and the rest of his brain leaked out when his heart stopped. She was He was slumped forward with his back wedged against the fridge. Her keys were in his front pocket where he'd stashed them right before he pushed her into the wall, choked her, and punched her in the face. Beth played through it again in her head, going limp, sliding down to the floor, waiting for the kick in the ribs. She took in the silence, listening for the sound, the seal on the fridge giving way, him searching for his pre-lunch beer. His eyes went wide when he turned. She pulled the trigger. The keys were pinned in the hip crease, sealed safely in his pocket. There was no way she could move him. She'd never tried to move a body before, and he was already starting to go stiff. Or maybe it was the dead weight. She reached for the kitchen shears, clipped through the thick denim of his pants with the boning shears, and then kicked. Wow. She reached for the kitchen scissors, clipped through the thick denim of his pants with the boning shears, and pulled the keys free. Then she checked her clothes for blood. Not too bad. Beth glanced at the clock again on the stove again. 11. Poppy had peed on the bathroom's pink rug. She wagged her tail and yapped at Beth. Stepping around Poppy's Beth Beth grabbed her makeup toiletry case and drugstore bag with detergent in it. She opened the empty washing soda box and checked that the 3 packages of hair dye were still inside, then scooped Poppy up to take her to the car. After loading the puppy into the passenger seat, she tossed her stuff into the back floorboard. She got in and started the car. The speakers were blasting a new radio hit that was way too loud and cheerful. Beth turned it down to a background murmur. Poppy snuffled at her face as she leaned across to roll the passenger window down. She left the driver's side open too, then ran back inside for one more thing. Wadding up some paper towels, she stuffed it into the toaster, then made a trail of towels from the toaster to the tablecloth and pinned it in place with the wooden cutting board. She stepped out onto the back porch to grab the mower gas can, which she used to douse the living room, hall, and last mark on the linoleum floor. She walked around the kitchen peninsula and leaned across the counter to press the toaster start, and waited just long enough to see the paper begin to smoke. Then she stepped out onto the porch and closed the door behind her for the last time. The dash clock read 11:30. Beth put the car in gear and backed out of the driveway and turned the vehicle away from town. She waited on the edge of the curb for a few more minutes till she could see the glow of fire inside the house. Then she shifted into drive and pulled away. By the time she made it to the county road, wisps of black smoke were already curling up to the sky. She pulled onto the shoulder, making way for a fire truck, and looked at the clock. Back at the house, she was sure the phone was ringing. Noon.
I love that. I love that. Even with our technical difficulties. Yeah, we got not our main character, but someone that our main character would help, that type of person.
Mhm.
It is a prologue. I know there are some people who don't like to read prologues. You are going to miss stuff if you skip this prologue. It seems
Yes.
It might seem disjointed, but it is not. It comes back into play, and it's not even like, oh, years ago in the same place something happened, but like, you know, it's unrelated. It's definitely related. You just don't know how until you get deep into the story.
Yeah.
But I think it sets the tone really well. And the dog is alive and safe.
Yes. I realized that afterwards, and I was like, oh, I probably do need to clarify that.
Yes, the dog is in the car safely with the human. Riley's staring at me like, what? But if there are any questions in the chat or any questions that people in the chat want to drop for Chandra and or myself, this would be the time to do it. Regina loves the puppy part. Poppy, the puppy.
I do think that's funny that I knew the puppy's name before I knew the main character's name.
Sometimes I think it's easier to name an animal.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think in general, like, I know they're fiction, but like when it comes to naming a person, you're like, oh, they could grow up and hate their name. And even though they're fiction, our characters are kind of like our babies. So I get it. Riley, however, is just, you know, it works.
Veronica, I see you.
Answer.
Yeah, it will be.
I think for now the idea is to stand alone. We shall see if that ever changes. A huge part of that will be if the book is successful. So buy the book, tell your friends to buy the book, etc., etc. You know how that old song and dance goes. Let's see if there are any other questions in the chat. Kate's here. Hi.
Hi.
Chandra
I
just
like that.
reading up the prologue. I'm going to share the cover again because it is so freaking awesome. Chandra's wearing red. I'm wearing white to match the van. Earlier, we talked about how Chandra turned the expectation of the van on its head because normally it's sketchy as hell. It still is, but for good reasons this time. It's incredible. Yes. We've got Veronica with another question. So we're at the Q&A part, Kate, and anyone else in the chat, if they want to drop questions, please do. But you're up, Chandra.
What was the hardest scene to write? Okay. So I feel like
the one that required the most research, maybe the most emotionally difficult one. And then if there's a third one that's for another reason that I can't think of.
Let me think. So I think I actually wrote the author's note before I started writing any of the like I guess let me frame it this way. There are two different things. I would qualify the abuse as the crimes that are committed. So before I wrote any of those parts, I wrote the author's note because I felt like I had to express that, like, why was I going into this detail? Why was I being so explicit about what happened to people? And
to be clear that, you're not glorifying these things.
yes. And so I wrote that first, and it made it a lot easier for me to write what happened to each of the victims in the story. Now, when I steps into the headspace of what Abby does, how Abby balances the scales in her mind, that was really hard. I think I messaged Veronica and uh, Natalie, and I was just like, am I doing too much? Like there were definitely times where as I was writing, I was like, I kind of feel like a bad person right now. Because like you do have to go to a dark place. You do have to come up with a lot of stuff. And you're like, what kind of person would be okay with this, would do these things? I think
a broken
case,
person.
yeah. Well, and I think the second case was probably the hardest as far as that goes.
Yeah.
That one was really dark. That one was really hard to write. And I felt like I think that was probably where I was like, am I doing too much? The one that was hard to write from the feeling like a little more distance from it was actually the third case.
Yeah.
And then trying to balance the escalation of the story with the characters and then not making it just be like, I don't know, over the top. There had to be kind of a flow to the story. So I think that one was challenging because of the necessary escalation, but the first one was just because I'm like, these are really like that's really dark, and how do I do this? So I think that was the second one was really where I was struggling with that and figuring out how to do that.
I think you broke through that struggle, though. I think it really shines. I think as a reader, I mean, obviously the crime in the second one is awful. And I think it's the one that's probably going to hit home for the most readers, if anything hits home for them. I hope none of the crimes hit home for them, but I feel like that the chance of that is very, very low. But I think the abuse that happens in the third case is really tough.
Yes.
And, my mom is a champion in helping me proofread things. And she was definitely in shock after the second one. And I was like, oh, the third one gets worse. And then she finishes it. And she's like, I feel like I had the wrong expectation going in because, you know, the third delivering of justice felt much less intense. And I was like, oh, I guess I was thinking about the whole thing, you know, what
Mhm.
happens to the victim and what happens to the perpetrator. And I think the balance that you do in each of those cases, you know, in the first one, not to make light of it, because it's an awful situation, and anyone who's been in it's terrifying, and our legal system absolutely lets these people down. But it's much more like what you would expect, I think, when you hear female vigilante justice, if that makes sense. And then it's like, no, this is a female Dexter. So let's get into case 2. Let's get into case 3 type of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's not gore, Regina. In the prologue,
Oh, it gets worse.
better.
Yes. Like if you're as long as you're on the right side, it gets better.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one to write was probably the first one
Oh,
because he's very cheeky
it
and
was very funny. My mom thought it was very funny. I thought it was funny.
I
Black,
think
dark humor, not like, oh,
yeah,
haha, this is hilarious, but like very funny.
yeah. I thought that one was where I was like, okay, I can do this. Um and it was also before I realized how hard it was going to be. But I think the first one, Abby was just wilding out.
Oh, yeah. She was like, yes, I'm back to work.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Abby is bored at the start. Let's just put it that way.
She's definitely having a time at the beginning, and she's just like,
I hate being
vacation sucks.
forced vacation isn't a vacation. Let me go back to work.
Yeah.
Which honestly same. So, yeah, I really thought you were going to say number 2 because it is the most intense.
I think it was challenging to write. And I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I enjoyed writing it. But as far as like being like a chill writing experience, I don't think when I was writing too, I don't think there was any
Oh
point in
yeah, no,
time
I
where I
don't
was
think
just
that would
like,
have been relaxing or enjoyable, really. So I get what you mean. Where one is like, yes. Is that how long it took you to write?
it did, and Veronica heard about it the whole time. The whole time, I was like, oh no.
How did we pick Abby's name? I very quickly, not so much from the first case, but definitely the second case. The religious trauma comes in, I think
Mhm,
it's fair to say. And I was like, wouldn't it be messed up if we gave her a name from the Bible?
mhm. And I was like, immediately yes, because there are themes.
Yes.
And so I also was looking for something that's like, when you think about, this is not her real name, right? This is the name that she goes by for reasons.
Yes.
Um, and so it needed to be the kind of name that you could flip through the phone book and it wouldn't stand out. There's going to be a lot of people with this name. People are not going to overthink it.
Yeah.
And so it was
I was
something.
suggesting ones that were like, oh, this woman in the Bible did this thing, but a lot of them were really stand out. And Chandra's like, no, I want something that isn't like, oh, where'd you get that name? And it wouldn't be as obvious. And then we narrowed it down. And then Abigail was one of the options. And we looked at the meaning and we were like, okay, cool. And I don't remember what the other two options were, but I was like, wouldn't it be funny if we did this? Because it's Dear Mother, but there was a column forever ago called Dear Abby.
Mhm. Yeah. And we were like, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, it works on so many levels. Because do we want to say what Abigail means?
Mhm.
It means my father's joy. And without giving
Yeah.
too much away, I would say that Abby has daddy issues. Someone
I think
accused her of having mommy issues as well.
yeah, Abby has issues.
We love
But
her.
she lives up to her name.
Yeah.
Both of them. She lives up to her names.
Oh man. Picking the real name, we went through meanings as well, but then when we realized like, oh, you know what? Actually, this works on a whole nother level, which I can't talk about because it would give away
Yeah.
stuff. Like really, really obviously. But I was quite proud of us, but also a little disappointed that it took us that long to be like, this obviously should be the one. Why were we staring at a list of 5 for so long?
Yeah. No, once we like looked at the meanings and everything, we were like, oh, this seems very obvious now.
Yeah. Yeah. Abby. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. How did you pick? Almost said something else. Beth's name.
That just came to me. Yeah, when I was doing like my initial, I think for everything I'm working on, I don't know if this is it right here. Let me check. No, it's not. I have a notebook for the project. Yes, this is it. So I have this. This is where I started writing, and literally the first page, where I was jotting down some different notes. Beth's name came in right away, as one of the first things that I wrote down. And there's a few other names that actually changed throughout the book, but it was just kind of as you start writing, you I don't know, it's just I develop a feel for the characters. And so Beth was like a very, I don't say like a gentle person, and very like put together, very like practical, very like tidy and simple, and so it just seemed like a very fitting name for her as I envisioned her before I started writing, and then it really like started to fit.
Did you know that Beth means house in Hebrew, but also house of suffering?
I did not know that.
Look at you. You're just
Knocking it out of the park. That makes sense.
man. Yeah. Oh, these names. It was really funny though when you gave a certain character as like blah 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 the third, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, of course, it would be a nepo baby.
Yeah, there's a actually, it's funny enough that that character, like I met a person, I don't know this person at all. Just like, when you like your people watching and
Yes.
you're like that character was like started here.
Uh-huh.
Just a random stranger that I bumped into that like when I started writing that character, I was like, oh, that person.
I think it's really funny that you're like, oh, he's kind of cute in a punchable way.
Yeah, it fits.
Yeah, the names are amazing, and we just discovered the Beth thing live. So you were
You
here.
saw it here first.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. We have talked about a lot. We got through some technical difficulties. I just want to show this cover again because it's so amazing. And as a reminder, this is a thriller novel following a female Dexter. If you want a shorthand to describe the book, it is female rage. It is promising young woman taken to the extremes I think many of us hoped for, that we didn't get. It is a tough pill to swallow, but it is an amazing ride. It comes out on March 17th, 2026. You can pre-order it now. You can register your pre-order. I added that form to the website yesterday. Our lovely author Chandra pulled a little bit from her professional career experience of working in IT. And so Abby is very, very good at tech stuff. So the gift for pre-orders is actually going to be a flash drive. Nothing on it. You can use it to write your own novel if you want. And I'm so excited for this book. It's the darkest thing we have ever signed on at this point, I would say. And Grandma's Little Secret by Becca C. Smith, who's I believe is still in the chat, is pretty dark. But this is dark in a different way. But I am so excited for this book. And everyone should be too. And if you're like, this sounds a little bit too intense for me, but you know someone who loves Dexter, who loves Killing Eve, who likes Criminal Minds, who is very upset at the world right now, you should recommend this book. You should tell them to buy it, or you could buy it for them. And
Yeah, Christmas is, pre-order gifts are great.
yeah, it's so nice. Receiving a book as a gift is so much fun, as we all know. If it's from yourself or from a friend or family member. Before we go, can you please read the dedication? Because I think it is also a really good marketing point.
So let's see. Do I have that right here?
If you don't, I have it. It's also in the Google Doc.
Here we go. Yes. So the dedication to the villains. I hope you die screaming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It is. Yeah. It is such a good book. Chandra, I think today though, you should add the list of triggers to your website.
I should, yeah. I need to update my website. I will add that to my to-do list.
Yeah, because while this book is amazing, I don't want anyone to wreck their mental health over it.
Yes.
Because that's not our goal. It's supposed to be cathartic for people with PTSD.
Yes. And that's something I do want to be really, really upfront about and clear about. I mean, even when I was drafting, I had a note section where I could go back as soon as I wrote something and make sure that I added the trigger warnings to that section because I'd be forgetting what I write sometimes. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything off the list. But yes, I'll be adding that to my website.
Yes, and ARCs will be available for signups really soon for this. ARCs are already technically available to be signed up for through for Grandma's Little Secret and this. But we haven't really started promoting them. But if you find, our website, which you should check out because we have a lot of other books that are already out as well, you will see a thing about joining our PR team. You say what genres you like, and then you will be signed up. With the Mother Mercy arc, I would recommend you actually download the preview first because that's going to include the prologue, which Chandra read, but also the list of triggers for the entire book because there's some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I love this book. I could wax poetic on it forever, but I won't. So again, thank you so much for being here. Chandra, you wrote a killer book, pun intended. And I hope everyone will pre-order it because it is really, really awesome. And you can hear my dog trying to dig to China. So I think this is a good time to wrap up. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching, which is the name of a different book coming from Inimitable Books. And I will be back to productivity streaming here on Thursday. Chandra will not be a guest, but hopefully she'll be on the chat because we are working on copy edits of this book.
Yes.
And yeah, thanks for being here. Don't forget to pre-order. Bye, everyone.
Bye.